We're now at the step to level the evaporator. It's easiest to do it on the width. So that means that we're going to play with this level. If the floor is really on level, as usual, we recommend to use some metal plates that you can get locally to shim the evaporator. So we'll be able to play with the level on this side. And then the other step after will be to level the evaporator on the length. So that's going to be done with the rear legs. Careful, the middle legs, that's the very last step, because you're just going to adjust those middle legs at the very end, so that way you can level the evaporator. The installation of the evaporator. It is not recommended to install an evaporator directly on the floor. We would prefer to rise it on some blocks. It's obviously going to be way better for the draft. So it'll get more air, and also at the same time it'll be easier for the producer to load the wood in the evaporator since it's a little higher.
La laine, ça vous prend un exacto. Pour plus de précision, ça vous prend un exacto à 2 os.
Okay, so we're now adjusting the draft stoppers. So we need 2 of those. The first one, there's a few details that are really important here. So obviously the position. So where do we want this draft stopper? So basically you have to measure, so from the beginning of the flue pan. So for this example, it's an 8 feet long and evaporator. So there's a 5 feet flue pan. So the flue pan will start right here, which is basically 5 feet from the rear end. And so from the beginning of the flue pan, we want approximately 16 inches. And this is where we want actually our wall to go up. Now, the other important thing is the angle. You don't want the angle to be too steep, because basically the fire will be forced into the flues. But if the angle is too steep, it'll make a hot spot in your flue pan. So basically what you want is this wall to be at an angle or approximately 30 to 35 degrees. So if we look at this guy here, this way, I've got about 34, 35 degrees angle, which is perfect. Also, it will actually give you my clearance, and the clearance is also really important. The clearance between my wall and the flue pan needs to be right now at about 5 inches, because I'll have 1 inch of wool and 1 inch of brick. So at the end, when I'm done, my wall would be at about 3 inches from the flues. which is perfect because the fire will be forced in the flues, but also I'll have my 3-inch clearance, which is perfect. Okay, we're now positioning the second draft stopper. So this one will be positioned about 14 inches from the rear end of the flue pan. So 14 inches. So that 14 inches is actually creating a draft. So if I put this stopper closer towards the end of my evaporator, I'll reduce my draft. So it's not going to help me create the heat. Now, the other important thing here is the clearance between my flue and my wall here, my stopper. What I need is I need this wall to basically almost touch the bottom of the flues. So that means, and I'm still going to have about 2 inches, so 1 inch of wool, 2 inches of wool actually. So I want to be maybe 2 inches and a quarter below my flues. So when I get my 2 inches of wool, I'm going to almost touch the flues. So that means I'm going to keep all the heat inside the flues, because if I'm too low, everything lower than my maybe quarter inch or almost touching, everything lower than that, I'm just going to lose that heat. So I want to almost touch the flues, and my 14 inches from the rear end will actually allow the draft. So the heat will actually go down and then back up the stack.
On brique droit et puis on attend que le ciment soit collé, soit pris pour tasser le mur. Essayez pas de le faire suivre, ça ne collera pas. Puis appuyez votre mur à l'intérieur comme ça pour risquer qu'il tombe.
So this is the product as it should be. We're done bricking here, and if you look closely in the combustion chamber, you got to make sure to get a really good heat out of your wood. You got to make sure that you actually put your wood in a way that air can actually go through. If you look at the grids, there's a few inches here that you need to keep clear. So you put your wood a little further, so you'll have a better combustion. Thanks.
Is it not straight?
Not straight?
No, straight. Oh, yes, it's good. I like it.